So, it's been a while since I recorded one of these video essay kind of things. Now let's get straight into it. First of all, you may be wondering, why is there a Christmas tree still behind you? Well, that's very simple. This isn't just any old Christmas tree. This is a dead Christmas tree. In true post-Christmas fashion, it doesn't know what it's about, really. It's that weird time where it's between Christmas and New Year's, and it's just not sure what it is. Now you clicked on this video, and you know what this is about. There's no need for a fucking intro. Christopher Nolan, a mastermind when it comes to making movies, has released the best movie of 2020, in my opinion, and arguably one of the best movies ever made. Not everyone's watched the movie yet. Not everyone's had their opportunity. And the fact that none of my friends, except for one, has actually watched that movie makes me feel kind of shitty because I want to talk about this movie so fucking bad. So this is that. Let's get straight into it. Why is it so great? Stick around and, well, you're gonna find out. We're not gonna find out together. So, Tenet. What can I tell you about Tenet? Well, essentially nothing, for two main reasons. The first of which being that you should go into it blindly. Well, obviously, other than watching the trailer, you shouldn't know anything about it. Because, much like I've talked about going into a bunch of great games blindly, you won't be able to enjoy it otherwise. I mean, you can, but you won't enjoy it as much if you know a lot about it to begin with. Much like you wouldn't be able to enjoy Outer Wilds or Shadow of the Colossus or God of War if you're going into them... God of War? That doesn't make sense. Okay, skipping past that script error. that was not... Okay, anyway. And the second reason being that I couldn't tell you what the story is about, honestly, not confidently at the very least. I understand what the movie's about, I understand the main plot, but it's not that obvious. I mean, it's kind of like when you walk away from any other Christopher Nolan movie. Obviously not talking about the Dark Knight trilogy, but like walking away from Interstellar and Inception, you kind of understand what's going on, but at the same time, do you? I mean, the main concepts aren't that complex to the point where only big brain fuckers can understand them, but at the same time, it's not simple to the point where it's boring. So he kind of throws you through a loop to the point where you're like, oh yeah, I kind of get that, but then he's like, do you? And then throws something at you and you're like, oh. But this movie's fucking great for that. I won't go into the spoilers in this movie because I want you to enjoy this. I'm serious. Even if you're watching this video with your own free will, I want you to watch this movie going into it blindly. I don't know why I keep saying blindly that way. I will say a few things about this movie. The first thing is, it never stops. A lot of movies, when you watch them, you're like, oh yeah, this is the fun bit. And then you're like, okay, settling down now. Let's focus in on this, neutral point. Okay, and then, hey, exciting bit again. This movie is like, oh yeah, we're gonna start in nice and easy, boom, and then it fucking starts. It's like waiting in the morning in your classroom for your professor to walk in, but instead he fucking brings in a fucking... You know those things they knock down doors with? The things the FBI knock down doors with? He brought 3 of those and fucking blew that door into next week, marching in with guns blazing and starts teaching. That's kind of how that movie starts. It's like, oh hey, now we're starting. And it's such a fucking good way to start that movie. I watched it twice. First time was just on my own. The second time was with my dad because I wanted him to watch that movie. I remember my dad's reaction when the movie started. He was just like settling down, got his cup of tea, and he was watching it. And then the movie started. He was like, oh God. He didn't have time to fucking understand. And it's fucking amazing because the movie never stops. It's never slowing down, but not in a bad way. It's never like, okay, there's too much happening, I need to stop because I don't understand what's going on. But it's never like, okay, this is just the middle point between the fucking exciting bits. It knows how to balance it out, but 99% of the movie is like, shit's happening. It just throws it in your face in a good way to the point where you're not bored. You're always, you can't take your eyes away from it. If you're watching it whenever it comes out on DVD, it probably has actually, you won't be able to pause it comfortably, going to get a drink and get back. That's not something you can comfortably do because you won't be able to pause that fucking movie. Because, oh my God, there's so much shit happening not all the time. Now that I finished my orgasm, let's talk about another fucking great thing about this movie. Watching it a second time, which I did with my dad, I'll put it this way, he watched a different movie from me. Because I went into it knowing the whole plot first time around, knowing the whole story arcs and the character arcs and what have you. He went into it not knowing anything, literally knowing nothing, barely even watching a trailer. He watched the same movie that I watched the first time around, but when I watched it with him, I was watching something completely different. And I found that to be fucking beautiful. Because, yes, I know where certain things are gonna happen so I can focus on other shit, but at the same time, there's shit which you didn't notice, and they're major things that you didn't notice in the first time you were watching it. And when you watch it a second time, which you don't have to, you connect the dots and you're like, oh my fucking God. And it makes sense. And then you're like, well, there's these 15 things which I still don't understand, but not in a bad way. Another thing I want to talk about. A lot of people said that this movie isn't as emotionally driven as other Christopher Nolan movies. To that I say, did we watch the same movie? I mean, sure, there's not a fuck ton of crying like there was in Interstellar, but there's still a fucking fuck ton of... Here's a fun little drinking game for my general videos. Whenever I say fuck, take a shot. And tell me how fucked up you are at the end. I just did it. Right, back to the thing. There's a fuck ton of emotion here. Let me give you an example as to why. 3, to be precise. I gotta say this without spoiling the movie. The female character's arc isn't exactly sunshine and rainbows. The antagonist's arc is pretty fucking dark. And not in an edgy, like, pretentiously dark... It's a dark thing. To the point where you're like, I know that I'm supposed to hate you because you're the villain and whatnot, but at the same time, I don't really hate you. It's kind of that whole spiel, but not in a pretentious kind of way. And the ending, which makes you go, oh no. It's not a bad ending. It's a really good ending. It's not a sad ending, but it kind of is. I didn't expect him to pull that. That's what I'm going to say about the ending. I didn't expect Nolan to be like, oh yeah, here's the... Yeah, you didn't expect that at all, did you? You didn't even think about it even being a possibility. So here's me fucking your heart. And I didn't cry or tear up or anything, but it was... I could see how some people may have teared up at the end of that movie or cried. Because... I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not going to say anything more. If this video doesn't make you want to watch this movie, then I probably did a bad job at it. But Jesus Christ, do I love this movie. So I'm not sure how much more I can express it, but I really love this movie. And at the beginning I did say this was the best movie of 2020, and I am aware that Parasite and Joker came out, but Joker can... My opinions on the Joker movie is as follows. I think it was just 2 hours of Todd Phillips jacking himself off. That's what I'm gonna say about that movie. Now, I've angered the entirety of Reddit. But here's the thing. This movie is fantastic. Whether you agree with me thinking about it so largely or not, you need to watch it. Anyways, thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like. Subscribe if you enjoyed my content. And ring that bell. Twitter and Discord are in the description as always. And I'll see you guys in the next video. As always, stay safe. Peace.